Colorado Ridge values a very high level of professionalism from its worship team. How will you balance your high degree of professionalism with the high level of spiritual maturity?
Um, the best thing that I've learned to do is you are building friendships within a church, and I guess the question relates to relationships in the church as far as professionalism as their quote unquote pastor and leader. You're building friendships in a community and a family, and you're also leading people at the same time. So it requires a lot of time spent seeking God in His Word, in prayer, uh, and soon, when Jill and I are married with my wife, seeking God to where we can be filled with Him and guided by Him in all that we do, that we can clearly hear Him, removing the walls and distractions of life, to where that would allow us both to lead once we become, one unit, I guess you could say, both to lead people in a professional way. Um, with spiritual maturity, it's just seeking God and asking Him to lead us in everything we do. Um, Honestly, I know that's a simple answer, but I've learned enough now that a lot of things come down to the simplicity of, God is God, and we just have to try to seek Him and listen to Him and follow Him, because that's the only thing we can really do. We can try to complicate it as much as we want, but it comes down to His love and His guidance, and that's the only way to really um, be professional and act in spiritual maturity. I mean, you can go to school to become a business professional and learn all of the things there, and still not understand what it means to have spiritual maturity within that, where God is leading every step of the way.
In addition to music, the worship pastor at Colorado Ridge is responsible for creating slides, videos, and graphics. Tell us about your experience with these things.
In college, I did some video and graphic stuff. Never really in depth, but as far as leading in worship ministries, I've done a lot of the stuff that has to do with videos and graphics and everything else. Especially whenever I was doing my own music career, I had to do that stuff a lot. And with Planning Center, I've been using that for I think 3 or 4 years now. I don't know why I looked at Jill. She would have no idea. She doesn't even know what that is. But I've been using that for probably 3 or 4 years, and I still use it on a weekly basis. And then with Pro Presenter, that's something that I'm not sure that I myself have ever ran a service from Pro Presenter. I know I did it whenever it used to be like Easy Worship, or those were the programs. But whenever I'm in a worship service, usually someone else was running the slides, but I have put slides in and typed them up and done the backgrounds and put things in Pro Presenter and moved them around. So I have experience with it, in having to get those set up for a worship service, um, as well as experience in setting up and tearing down a church service, from the entire sound system to the projectors and everything else that it takes to get that stuff going, and as far as running sound and everything else. So that's from a technical aspect, I guess. That's what I know.
As you have been involved in ministry, what have you done? What have been your high points and low points?
Um, High points have been the experiences I've had with people in, as far as seeing their growth and seeing my own growth. Like the growth of just experiencing God is always a high point for me, obviously. And I know that sounds silly, but it's just the truth. And just having Him interact with us, and Jill and I guess, are at a high point right now with God in our ministry of just us becoming a family, and getting married and everything. That's going to be really cool. But also just with the church, I would say just seeing the growth in the people that are part of God's ministry that He's allowing me to lead, and just seeing their growth and them starting to experience God in new ways, and feel like they're learning new things, and within that, that's also teaching me so much more. And low points, I can say honestly that the low points have been, I've had the opportunity to be a part of many different churches, and I don't know, you know, what exactly the situations were, but there was a few times that churches kind of burned me pretty hard, with just empty promises, and mostly just so I can clarify that from the aspect of when I was younger, and just getting into ministry and wanting to learn, and I was, very ambitious and ready to go, and not that I'm not ambitious now, but just had to learn a lot through it, that I was looking for discipleship. I was looking for people to help lead me and teach me, and a lot of the times it just wasn't, or a few of the times it wasn't what I got, and was burned by it, and just didn't have the best experience with a church, where they said, that there were certain things that they were going to help me with, as far as just, I was there serving them, sometimes even on a volunteer basis, just because I wanted to learn from them, and wasn't offered the opportunities to learn, to just meet and be discipled, which is what I was looking for. But eventually I found that actually through somebody who was her pastor, and he helped me in discipleship, and helped lead me once I was in ministry. And I found that since then, for the last, I've known him for three years now, 4 years now. Um, so, and that's been awesome. But yes, I have had a couple of bad experiences with people in the church. But people are human, and everyone makes the same kind of mistakes. And human nature is that not everything's always going to go exactly like you think it's going to, and that's just the way things go. But to end that more on a high point is just, the high points. A lot of them were doing camps, the revivals, and just being a part of a church for a while, for any length of time, where you can see what God is doing and actually see Him moving, and how He's speaking to a church family, and I think that's awesome.
This position at Colorado Ridge is part-time. How do you envision supplying for your personal and or family financial needs beyond this position?
Well, for little Murphy and Jill over here, I guess the plan is actually, one of the main, or probably the main reason we're interested in Colorado Ridge is because I work currently. My dad is the vice president of a flooring manufacturer who's based in New Jersey, and they're looking. They're giving me the opportunity and the options of transferring from where I'm working now in Texas to either I can stay here or um, go to Denver. And Jill and I, is one of our biggest goals is we've always wanted to go to Denver. I grew up in New Mexico, just south of the border of Colorado in Farmington, and had the opportunity to visit Colorado fairly often, and have visited it quite a few times since then. I know she has too, and have had friends from there and had conversations with them, and just feel like we are called to Colorado, and the society, the way people are. I have family in California, and I've had, like I said, friends from Colorado, and also with my family from the UK. A lot of the belief systems and the way that people think about life are very similar, and that excites us. That's what we sometimes like, we like the opportunity, we like the challenge, and we're very kind of competitive people. Obviously, we were very into athletics and sports, and but feel called. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but we feel called to Colorado, and with that opportunity for working with my dad, which now that's the same thing I do now. I lead worship throughout the week, and spend my hours, all of my free hours focused on my church and my new family that I'm getting ready to start, and then also the mornings and into the afternoon working for Floorfolio Industries, which is my dad's company, and that is the opportunity I've been set up with now, and they love that I'm in ministry and would love for me to continue in that, and their hope for me is that, one day, the same hope that we have, that, I could do full-time ministry and we could make that our lives, and that's what we want to do. We want to be able to just serve God with as much time as we can give, and we're fine with that if it means we have other jobs, and we're fine with that if we're focused on being a missionary with no money, or being in ministry and working on that full time. And we just want to be where God has called us to be. And so, we have that opportunity, and it's set up for Denver, and that's why we're excited, and that's why we're hoping that, feeling this calling from God, that, He's going to lead us regardless and show us where to go. Is that all the questions?
That's all of them.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, I guess. That's a funny thing to say. Anyways, thank you for watching this video, and we will talk to you soon and hope to get to know you more.